Hey everybody, I wanted to give you something a little different today, and I wanted to take you guys down with me nostalgic lane and talk about how the re-release of Classic in 2019 was truly unmatched. And I really believe it was one of the glory times of World of Warcraft. As always, if you guys appreciate my videos, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate it. If there's anything I would like you guys to do, it's to let me know some of your favorite moments in Classic down in the comments. I could do a full video about my own journey, but I thought it would be better to highlight some of the key and funniest moments that I remember of 2019. Honestly, I came up with this idea for the video when I was scrolling through my friends list late last night actually. And on some of my tunes, seeing the names that I used to game with night in and night out, it truly felt like one of those memes if you've seen them when people log onto their old consoles or they go to their old Call of Duty leaderboards and they see their friends list and it says last online 3 years ago and things like that. It honestly made me a little sad. Luckily though, I actually had the opportunity to meet some of these people in real life since we had a real friendship that started from this game. I still talk to some of these people I met in 2019, whether that's in the game on my friends list or we even have each other's phone numbers or other social media. It's honestly great. Now for the start of this journey, I decided to do Mancrik PvE. I always used to do PvP servers pretty much all the time, but I wanted to try something different, and in the end, I honestly couldn't have made a better choice. Now leveling was just like any other server, everyone racing the 60 or server first. In fact, on my Hunter, Frenzy Hunt, I was actually the highest level toon on the server at one point. I was level 34 and I was really cruising. I actually was tied with a guy called Jiffy Pop, who actually turned out to be a future guildie of mine, oddly enough. Now, the server didn't really get interesting until it was time for Molten Core. The thing that made Mancrik magical was that there were so many guilds running Molten Core. It was truly a beautiful thing seeing 50 plus guilds being able to run MC because, well, they're 40-man raids. And that's why Classic is such an amazing game to me. The content's easy, sure, no one's arguing that, but that's the point. To see that many people bonding and playing the game together was great. Classic was all about playing with your friends, really. Of course, you had the speedrunners, the parsers, the semi-hardcore guilds, and the casuals all squished in the one raid. You had a little bit of everything. And let's not forget about the general chat. The general chat was a game within a game. There were so many trolls, so many people spamming macros. You had people advertising for their guilds. You had arguments. It was truly like your typical lunch table or your cafeteria when you were in middle school, where you just had a bunch of different people talking about different things. Now this is going to sound silly to some, but this is the part I remember vividly. Honestly, Mancrik kind of reminded me of like ancient China or Japan, where you had these warlords all trying to unite the country. You had all these guild masters claiming their guild was better than others. You had people arguing at LFG. You honestly had true rivalries with these guilds. These guilds would be at each other's throats. Not to mention the continuous poaching of elite players in the game. There was always drama. There was never a night where you couldn't go where you wouldn't have to go make popcorn or sit on the game an extra 15 minutes to see who had the best roast. Now for a couple people that I truly remember, there's always this one guy that I will never forget. One of the most infamous players in Mancrik history. His name was Lost War. I went to a couple of his raids not knowing who he was, but honestly I'll never forget. This guy was constantly mad at his raid and his guild and would master loot anything related to tank or DPS warrior to himself. I remember the first night, he walked away with 10 to 12 pieces of gear one night. However, his downfall was something legendary. When his guild called God Complex went into Blackwing Lair for the first night of the release, they wiped on Razorgore and he disbanded the guild forever. Nobody saw him again. There was another guy in a French-Canadian guild who got his Thunder Fury so fast, everyone knew it was skeptical. There's still people that talk about it today on this server. That he was paying people real money to transfer their tunes to Mancrik to bring him arcane crystals. It honestly doesn't sound that far-fetched if you realize how bad the arcane crystal grind was, especially on Mancrik. I remember getting my Thunder Fury, I would have to stay up nightly till 5, 6 in the morning to farm these rich thorium veins. You had to go against bots, alliance players, and even other players of the Horde. I can't tell you how many times Horde players tried to hit my node. The only way I could do it was I had to take auto loot off and sit there and loot the vein and just sit there for a little bit, so that way they couldn't time the hit on the node. It truly was the Wild West. And let's not forget about the Black Lotus Mafia, as we called them. It was a group of players who controlled the Black Lotus market. They had multiple tunes logged out on Lotus spawns and had timers for when the Lotus would be up. They controlled who would get Black Lotuses and who wouldn't. It truly was a wild time. And say what you want about world buffs, but I loved it solely on the fact that it forced people to log in. It made the game active, no matter what. And then you had the Scarab Lord race, and if you thought anything I've said was degenerate, wait until you get a load of this. Each hardcore or sweaty guild essentially dedicated one member to the right of chasing Scarab Lord. You had an all-out war. They'd be grouped up with members of their guilds farming bugs for hours and hours and hours in caves. In fact, the story still goes on, and this guy didn't log out for 48 hours straight, continuously having his guild carry him through the trials of being a Scarab Lord. There were so many arguments in the server Discord continuously about who deserved it, who should hit the gong first. It was truly magical. But then there was Nax, the beginning of the end. This truly was the most heartfelt moment of Classic because everyone knew this was the end. And it seemed like the majority of the server had bonded together to enjoy the last months of the server. Because we knew once TBC dropped, everything would change forever. And it truly felt that way. All the drama stopped. There really wasn't much anything going on, but people just loving the game and trying to get along with as many people as they could. Now, there's so many other moments that I have that I would love to share with you guys, but it would be like a 45-minute video. Whether it's farming Chimera Chops with 3 buddies all night in Discord, running my 40-man pugs, or the guy who would call himself the mayor of Ogamar and dance on the mailbox for 8 hours a day. However, I wanted to give you guys the floor and have you share some of your favorite moments with me about Classic. Thank you guys for watching and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. See ya.